Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Nate, and this is Nate's Vintage Trains. In this video, I will be talking about another Disney animator, Ollie Johnston. He had his own miniature backyard railroad, as well as a full-size backyard railroad, you could say. But without any further ado, let's just get into it. Oliver M. Johnston Jr. was born October 31st, 1912 in Palo Alto, California. He attended Stanford University and worked for the campus humor magazine, where he met his lifelong friend, Frank Thomas. Thomas would also be another future Disney animator. Johnston transferred to Chodad Art Institute his senior year. He started working at Disney in 1934 and worked on many iconic Disney animated films and pieces of media. Some of the films included Pinocchio, Fantasia, Bambi, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and many others. He would retire from Disney in 1978. In 1943, Ollie Johnston married Marie Estelle Worthy, who was an ink and paint artist at Disney at the time. Ollie's lifelong hobby was trains. But it really kicked off in 1947 when he joined Southern California Live Steamers. At this time, he started looking into building a backyard railway of his own. After a visit to Dick Jackson's home, he decided to build his railway at 1-inch scale and 4 3/4-inch gauge. Fellow animator and rail fan Ward Kimball suggested Ollie talk with fellow SCLS member Lawrence Heine. Heine had built a few stationary engines and has a partially completed Pacific at the time. Construction on Ollie's locomotive began in 1948, and it was completed and steamed up in 1950. The 462 locomotive that was built was based on a Baltimore and Ohio design, but it was mostly freelance. While it was being built, about 1,300 feet of track was constructed at Ollie Johnston's home. Some of the features of this layout included a 3-foot deep cut through decomposed granite at a 3% gradient to the summit of the train layout, as well as a somewhat short trestle, but a very nice setup indeed. The railroad was named the La Cañada Valley Railroad. The 462 locomotive was numbered 515, since that number reminded Johnston of catching the 515 commuter train on the way to work. In 1954, Lawrence Heine and Ollie Johnston started to build a Shay locomotive. Johnston's idea was to build some steeper track on a hill that was part of his property in Flint Ridge, California. The Shay was completed in 1956, and the lettering was done by Lawrence's younger son, Harlan. The Shay was completed, however, no more track was built. In the early 1960s, Johnston and Frank Thomas purchased a property in Julian near San Diego. They built a vacation home here, and both of them wanted to build a 3-foot narrow gauge railroad around it. Jerry Best was contacted to help find a locomotive, and an 040 tank locomotive was found in Washington and acquired in 1965. It was converted to a tender engine and lettered for the Deer Lake Park and Julian Railroad, a fictional railroad. Numbered 3, it was also named the Marie E after Ollie Johnston's wife. A caboose and some riding cars were also built for the Marie E for transporting passengers around the half-mile of track. Things stayed this way for many years with his miniature railroad and his full-size railroad in San Diego. In 1998, the Julian property was sold, and the Marie E was also sold to John Lasseter, as well as the riding cars and caboose. Ollie's wife passed away in 2005, and the same year, Ollie Johnston was honored at Disneyland with a very special surprise. The Marie E was brought to Disneyland for Ollie to operate around the railroad. Laster was kind enough to do this in honor of Mr. Johnston. This was the last time he would operate the Marie E. Soon after this, Johnston's home was sold, and the railroad equipment, as well as everything else he owned, was moved. The house was demolished, and of course the railway was torn up, sadly. Ollie Johnston passed away in 2008 in Washington, and the railroad locomotives and cars went to his two sons. The Marie E is now located in Reedley, California. As far as I know, it's still owned by John Lasseter. The Marie E visited Disneyland for one last time for the reopening of the Disneyland Railroad, and towed Ward Kimball's Chloe locomotive with an open car behind it. Ollie Johnston's 1/4 scale depot is on display near the Walt Disney Carolwood Barn at Los Angeles Live Steamers. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this sort of content, please consider subscribing, liking this video, commenting down below. I still have a few more videos to go until it's Christmas Day. And, as always, I'm Nate for Nate's Vintage Trains, reminding you to always keep it old school. God bless, and of course, Merry Christmas.